Hi everyone, today we're going to be comparing Seoul, South Korea to Tokyo, Japan. And my credentials are I spent about 4.5 months in South Korea, in Seoul. I was studying abroad there, and then I spent about a month in Tokyo just like traveling. And actually, fun fact, I spent Halloween in both, and they were both like super fun. First, let's compare food. So, the food in Seoul is my favorite food in the world. Easy. And the food in Tokyo is also freaking amazing. So in Seoul, you have like street markets, like the Myeongdong market. That one's kind of mid. And then you have the Tsukuji fish market in Tokyo, which is freaking amazing. Definitely go there if you're in Tokyo. But either way, I'm still gonna have to pick Seoul for better food because in Japan, after a while, like it gets really repetitive. They don't have a lot of variety, and they don't really their food isn't spicy, and I love spicy food. And in Seoul, like you can find anything you want. You can find like Indian, pizza, burgers, anything. I mean, I'm sure it's the same way in Tokyo, but when I was walking around Tokyo, usually all I saw was either like ramen or like udon or like sushi, which I'm so sorry if you're like a Tokyo living person and you're like, oh my god, no, they have all this other food. Sorry. But either way, I had some of my favorite food in the world in Seoul. I had malatang, which I know is Chinese, but like Korean style malatang, which was freaking fire, my favorite food in the world right now. And I had like the street food, like I think they call it like junk food, but I don't know, like tteokbokki, like mandu, things like that. I could eat that every single day, no problem. Okay, now let's talk about the parties. So these are both like super fun places if you want to like go out and party. So in Seoul, there's like two party area. I mean, there's more than two, but like the two main ones for foreigners is Hongdae, which they have like more commercial pop, rap, things like that, that kind of music. And then there's Itaewon, which is more like house music. I prefer Hongdae. I feel like it's always the best time when I'm in Hongdae. I'll be dancing till 7 a.m. And both of these cities, Seoul and Tokyo, are the type of place where the train closes at 12 and doesn't open till 6. So if you want to go out, you have to either overpay and pay the foreign price for a taxi, or you can party all night and then catch the train in the morning. And both of these East Asian countries party hard, let me tell you. Whenever you go out in Seoul or Tokyo, you will always see a passed out Korean or a passed out Japanese person in the street in their own vomit. Maybe there's like a bunch of water bottles around them, something like that. So they both party hard. And then in Japan, it's like Shinjuku versus Shibuya. I don't know if there are more party areas since, I was only there for like a month. I love the clubs in Shibuya, like Adam Club in Shibuya is so much fun. I would recommend that one. Shinjuku, there's only Warp, which like I don't really like that. I don't really love Warp that much. So for partying, I think they're both top notch for partying. And okay, let's talk about meeting other travelers while you're traveling. So in Seoul, I did study abroad, so I had like a bunch of friends, but then I went back and like I stayed in a hostel, and it was definitely not like social vibes. But I know a lot of people say in Tokyo like you don't want to go by yourself because it's not really social. But I found at my hostel like I made a ton of friends, there's no problem. I'll put the name of my hostel here. So if you're looking for like social vibes with like other travelers, I would say Tokyo. Okay, shopping. So for shopping, like thrifting and like regular shopping are both amazing in both of the countries, in Seoul and Tokyo. So in Seoul, there's like this flea market, like street thing called Dongmyo Market. Fire. I got my favorite jeans from there. I still wear them like all the time. And then in Japan, Tokyo, there's like obviously tons of thrifting. It is expensive, it's not cheap. And like thrift stores, like vintage antique stores in the city, like in Hongdae or like Shinjuku or Harajuku or something, they're gonna be way overpriced. But the Dongmyo Market in Seoul is like good like thrift prices. As for like regular shopping, they both have amazing shopping. Harajuku, Shinjuku, Shibuya, they all have like, especially Harajuku, they have like little stores you can go into. They have like malls. In Seoul, there are some amazing malls like iPark Mall, Lotte Mall. I did so much shopping in Seoul, and I thought they had the cutest stuff. But both of these places have amazing shopping. For hikes, I have to give it to Seoul. I don't know if there are like mountains in Tokyo. I know Mount Fuji isn't too far away, but in Seoul, like in the city, like really close somewhere right away, there are amazing mountains. There's Dabungsan Mountain. I did the best hike of my life there. I did a sunrise hike. And then there's this other famous mountain. I can't remember the name, but I'll put it here. Okay, when we talk about locals, let's talk about locals of Seoul or like locals in Korea and then locals in Tokyo or like overall Japan. Honestly, Japan has some of the nicest people, friendliest people I have ever met. They like one time I lost my freaking passport on the train and this mom with her two very young kids saw me struggling, saw me asking around where's the lost and found. So she followed me and translated for me for like an hour with like a guy working at the train station. And like you can just be standing around looking confused and people will come up to you in Tokyo and ask you if you need help. Like the locals are so freaking nice and friendly. And in Seoul, like they are nice. I have a lot of really good like Korean friends, but they are a little shy and like this is what my friend told me. They're like apparently shy because their English might not be that good, so they don't really want to like talk to foreigners. I don't know if this is the case, but yeah, people are definitely like more friendly in Tokyo. So let's talk about museums. I know it's kind of like a random topic, but I personally love museums, and when I go to a country, like I would like to go to some museums if there are good ones. In Seoul, I had off of class on Thursdays and Fridays, so I would go to museums like every weekend by myself, and it was the most fun thing ever. And there are some really nice museums there. Like there's like the War Museum that was really nice. The Folk Museum is by the Palace. And then there's this other creepy museum. I can't remember the name right now, but I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, all these museums are like super nice and like most of them are free. Like 99% of the like all of the big museums are free, which is super nice. And then in Tokyo, I only went to one museum. It was okay. It was nothing crazy. I don't know if there are more places to go to, but for museums, I'm going to have to say Seoul is the winner. And lastly, like the overall city views. So if you're looking for like a classic like skyscrapers, things like that, like definitely Tokyo. But Seoul has like charming little towns. It has like the big party towns or like big towns are more like they're not very skyscrapery. I mean there are a few, but it doesn't compare to Tokyo. But Seoul is definitely like has its own charm and its own cuteness. But if you're looking for like city vibes, I would do Tokyo. So, overall, if you were going to ask me which one I prefer, I would say Seoul. Yes, I have a bias, but I love Seoul so much with all my heart. And honestly, like, I am going to be there soon in May, I think. So, I'm like, I don't know. I have my friends there. I have my life there. Like, I established a little life there. I got a routine, and it was just beautiful. I would, like, go on adventures all over Seoul, like, by myself with my friends. It was just seriously the best. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you prefer Seoul or Tokyo. And don't worry, I will be going to China this summer, so I'll have more insight about another East Asian country. I'll also be going to Taipei and like Shanghai, so I'll see some more capitals and have some more insight on like which one's better. But yeah, let me know if you prefer Seoul or Tokyo, and please let me know if you want any itineraries, tips, anything at all like that for Seoul or Tokyo. I will be making those videos soon, so follow along for more.